The canvas of autumn. The crisp air of the late October morning bit at Alex's cheeks, painting them a flush of rose as he walked through the park. He shoved his hands deeper into the pockets of his worn corduroy jacket, the familiar texture a small comfort against the swirl of anxieties that had taken root in his mind. The leaves underfoot, a kaleidoscope of russet, gold, and crimson, crunched with each deliberate step he took, a symphonic percussion accompanying his internal monologue. His first solo art exhibition, a culmination of years of quiet observation and painstaking work, was just a week away. He had always found solace in art. In China, as a young boy, he'd spent hours sketching in his grandmother's garden, capturing the intricate details of lotus blossoms and the stoic strength of bamboo. Those memories, now half-faded sepia tones in his mind, were a potent reminder of his roots. He and Mia, his wife, had left China a decade ago, seeking new opportunities in England, a landscape that was both exciting and bewildering. Mia, practical and grounded, was the anchor in his sometimes turbulent artistic sea. She was a successful accountant, her mind a precise and logical mechanism, a stark contrast to his own creative chaos. Her support had been unwavering, not just emotionally but also financially. She'd pushed him to pursue his passion, even when he doubted his own worth, and it was her meticulous planning that had made the exhibition possible. A small smile touched his lips as he pictured her meticulously organizing her spreadsheets, her dark hair pulled back in a tight bun, a strand always escaping to frame her face. He had captured her in countless sketches, the subtle curve of her jaw, the focused intensity in her eyes when she was deep in concentration. Those sketches, like so many others, were going to be part of the exhibition. He hoped, more than anything, that he could convey the depth of his feelings, not just for her, but for the life they've built together in this foreign land. He paused by the small ornamental pond, its surface reflecting the brilliant autumn foliage above. A lone duck paddled across the water, its quack sounding like a melancholic sigh. He pulled out his small sketchbook and a charcoal pencil, the familiar feel of the wood a grounding sensation in the midst of his anxieties. He tried to capture the scene, the way the light filtered through the leaves, the subtle ripples in the water, but his hand felt clumsy, his movements stiff. The fear that his art wasn't good enough, that he had overestimated his abilities, was a persistent weight in his chest. He closed the sketchbook with a sigh, the sound like the rustle of dead leaves. Just as he was about to leave, he saw a familiar figure approaching. Mia, she wore a sky blue coat, the color almost luminous against the backdrop of warm autumnal hues. Even from a distance, he could see worry etched in the lines around her eyes. "Alex," she called out, her voice a little breathless, "I was worried about you. You left so early this morning without saying much." He walked towards her, a wave of relief washing over him. "Sorry, I just needed some air." She took his hand, her fingers intertwining with his. "Is it about the exhibition?" He nodded, unable to articulate the overwhelming mix of anticipation and dread that consumed him. "You've worked so hard, Alex. Your art is beautiful. You need to trust in that." Her eyes, usually so pragmatic, held a glimmer of something softer, something that touched his heart deeply. He knew she didn't always understand his artistic process, but there was a quiet admiration in her gaze that always moved him. They walked along the path, hand in hand, the crunch of the leaves a constant rhythm beneath their feet. "I'm having doubts, Mia. What if people don't like it?" What if they don't understand what I'm trying to say? She squeezed his hand reassuringly. Art isn't about pleasing everyone, Alex. It's about expressing yourself. It's about sharing your perspective, your emotions. And your perspective is unique, just like you. Remember the story you told me about your grandmother's garden? The way you described the light, the shadows, the feeling of the earth. That's what makes your work special. He had forgotten, momentarily, the profound connection he had with his past, with his cultural heritage. It was his grandmother's garden, a symbol of his roots, that was always present in his work, intertwined with the landscapes of his new life in England. And quote, I drew a lot today. From the park again, the pond. I'm trying to capture the way the light is right now. There is something fleeting and fragile about it all. And quote, he didn't mention not being able to capture it as he imagined it. And quote, you always notice those things. I wish I have your eyes. The way you see the world, and quote, she smiled tenderly. And quote, tell you what, let's go get some hot chocolate and pastries and then go home. We can go over the catalogue together again, and quote. The warmth of the cafe welcomed them as they settled into a quiet corner, steam from the hot chocolate swirling around their faces. Alex felt a sense of calm descend upon him, something he hadn't felt all morning. It was a feeling of belonging, a feeling that he had found his place in this world, not just as an artist, but as a partner in this shared life with MIA. They spent the rest of the afternoon poring over the catalogue, MIA making minor suggestions, each one delivered with her characteristic blend of clarity and kindness. And as Alex watched her, her brow furrowed in concentration, he realized that the true canvas of life was not made of paint or charcoal, but of these small, shared moments, the laughter and the tears, the worries and the hopes, all woven together into a rich and vibrant tapestry. The exhibition opening arrived, a whirlwind of faces, hushed conversations, and the clinking of glasses. He saw his work through the eyes of the people who stood before them, their light catching each brushstroke, each stroke of charcoal. There were older gentlemen in tweed suits, young students with bright, inquisitive eyes, and families gathering together, sharing their thoughts about what they were seeing. He saw MIA standing near the entrance, her bright smile reaching her eyes as she effortlessly mingled with their guests, a silent reassurance that he wasn't alone. That evening, as they finally closed the doors of the gallery, tired but with a sense of accomplishment, Alex turned to MIA. The streetlights cast long shadows, making their world a monochrome sketch. Thank you, MIA, he said, his voice thick with emotion. For everything. She reached out and gently traced the lines on his palm with her finger. We did it, Alex. You did it. I'm so proud of you. And quote. He nodded, his gaze locking with hers. The anxieties of the morning, the fear of failure, were still present, but they felt smaller, less overwhelming. He knew that regardless of what anyone else thought of his work, he had created something that came from the depth of his soul, something that had meaning. And as they walked hand in hand toward their home, the crisp autumn air replaced by the soft glow of the city lights, Alex knew that the journey of an artist, like the journey of life, was not about reaching a destination, but about the moments of connection, the shared experiences, and the quiet moments of understanding. He had found his voice, not just in his art, but in his life with MIA, in the canvas that they had painted together, a life rich with autumn colors, and the promise of more to come. And that, he realized, was more meaningful than all the praise in the world.